My video for the 27th of February 2018 is entitled, Love is the Primordial Essence of the Cosmos. As I said in the previous video, Anastasia had a very different take on life as humans. Her insights came from a heritage of pre-religion priests. In different cultures, they may be referred to with various names. Some were male and some female. Gender was irrelevant. The point is, they were never subjected to the brainwashing of the worlds that followed that ancient beginning of man, humans, on earth. Their priests were very much connected to the land, in fact, to all life. They did not dominate. Rather, they took personal responsibility for their environment and actually loved the plants, animals, and creatures with which they were gifted. In our age, we might refer to them as pagans, though they were far from savages. They conducted their lives with reverence. I would say that they actually knew God, not as something separate, but as connected to all that is. God was an interconnected web. If we are to survive this time around, we must let go of that which creates the illusion of separation. We need to develop rights of love that transform us, giving us a new beginning. I'm actually going to take time to read from the book, Rights of Love. I'm not going to read a lot. There's a few paragraphs here, but this is from chapter 2 in the book, and it's entitled, Do Our Lives Correspond to the Divine Program? And it goes like this. A man was born in the operating room on the second floor of a hospital. The doctors were surprised to see an absolutely healthy baby. Days and months flew by like seconds. The child attended kindergarten, then school, then university. Wise educators, teachers, and professors instilled in him some kind of program of life. The man decided that the most important thing in life was to have lots of money, which would enable him to feed himself well, have an apartment, a car, and clothing. And he began to work hard, sometimes even taking 2 shifts a day. Still, the seconds dragged out into years, and when he reached retirement, he had been able to earn enough for a modest 2-room flat and a used car. Long before retiring, he fell in love, got married, divorced, and remarried. His first wife bore him a child, but after the divorce, the child stayed with his mother. A child was born from the second marriage, but he went off to the far north. They talked on the telephone once or twice a year. Seconds counted down the years of the man's old age. He took ill and died. Such is the sad fate of the majority of people living on earth today. There is a minority who manage to become famous entertainers, politicians, presidents, or millionaires. Life for this category of people is considered to be more happy, but that is an illusion. Their cares are no fewer than anyone else's, and their end turns out exactly the same: old age, disease, and death. Was such a fate included in the divine program for residents of the earth? No. The Creator could not predestine such a sad and cruel fate for his children. It was human society itself, under the influence of some kind of powers, that ignored the divine program and started down a path of self-torture and self-destruction. Indeed, if you look at the world, it is a program of self-torture and self-destruction. I mean, the people that are the most successful rape little children and commit all sorts of atrocities against life itself. They are totally devoid of compassion. They do not have any concept of what love means. It's all about the pleasures of the flesh and accumulating wealth and trying to control those and enslave those that are considered less than you. This is the mentality of the elite that runs the world, which I would say is a demonic element. And it was the demonic element that introduced this separation concept that separated us from our original state. And we can go back and look at some of the archaeological finds that are coming to pass in the 19th, 20th, and 21st century now. And we can see that these were not ignorant people in the past. They had some form of technology that seems in many cases more advanced than what we have. And I, of course, cite the pyramids as an example of that, where the stones are, there's no even need for cement or anything to hold them together. They are perfectly cut and perfectly fitted, and some of them weigh tons, multiple tons. How did they lift them into place? They knew something that we didn't know. They had talents, gifts, and abilities that we had back then, but we don't have now, even though we consider ourselves to be an advanced culture, an advanced civilization. No, we're not advanced. We've improved from what we were in the Middle Ages, so to speak, or in what we call the Dark Ages even. Yes, we seem to have advanced, at least in so-called Western culture. But culture, before religion took over, was unified. It wasn't separate. We don't have much evidence of that except in some of the dolems, or however you say that word, or the tombs that are found in Russia. And again, earliest civilization traces back to two primary areas on the earth: the area of northern India and that region, Pakistan, that part of the world, and also to Russia. Those are the original places where man's history can be traced back the furthest. At least that's what I've read and what I've studied. Here's what I want to make a point about. If we are going to survive, and some say again that this is the fifth world that we're in, the fifth world. Are we going to have to go into a sixth world because we weren't intelligent enough, we didn't have enough wisdom, we didn't have enough foresight to recognize that we were going the wrong way? And if you think war is the right way, if you think money is the right way, if you think the way that things have been is the way that it's supposed to be, you need to re-examine and question what your perception is, because there's something missing that you're not seeing. And most of us don't see it. I'm not saying I see it and you don't. I'm saying I struggle with the same things that everybody else struggles with too. I don't want to go through that routine that I read from the book here on the Rights of Love, chapter 2. I don't want to go through that and just die. That's why I want my life to have meaning, and I want the meaning to be that I help contribute to the restoration of the ancient concept of connectedness rather than separation. We need to get back to the place where we reestablish rights of love in our own lives so that we can build each other up, not tear each other down. And when we start learning how to build each other up, we can transform the very face of the world, and we won't recognize how beautiful. I mean, it's already got a lot of beauty, but we ain't seen nothing yet, folks, as to what the potential is if we could stop competing and start cooperating and loving one another, which always begins with loving ourselves. That's where it begins. Thank you for listening, and namaste.